Hello, my name is Josh. I'm here with Musicians and Makers Podcast. We're dedicated to serving and promoting musicians and artists across a broad spectrum of genres and mediums. I'm joined with my host, Steve.
How's it going?
Hey, Steve. And also members of Wlots. This is Robert, Alexander, and Hans. And you've just heard the track Bitter Lemon off of Sempre Piu. Awesome. So why the name Wlots?
It's kind of it's taken from our last band name, which was What's Left of the Sun, which is way too long, we noticed, and everyone was abbreviating it anyways, so it just felt natural to keep the shortened version of it. But it doesn't really stand for What's Left of the Sun anymore. It's just more its own thing, kind of.
We also liked that it sounded more like Russian underground band.
That's awesome. Yeah, that track Bitter Lemon, it's such an awesome track. I feel like we get a little bit of the upticks in speed, and then you slow it down, and it's just very melodic. That whole album is just constructed so well, and it just goes from those high peaks to those lows. What was the writing process for that for you?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The writing process was...
It was long.
It was long.
Yeah, we wrote those songs over 3 years almost.
Yeah.
Or something. And one after another, basically. So it's kind of eclectic in a way, but we try to find a common thread through the whole thing while producing it. And we recorded it ourselves, and it took a long time. And we had a year that we pretty much didn't practice anything because I was so busy mixing and finishing the album.
Yeah, on the track Bitter Lemon, the first thing I thought of was this reminds me of Rain. Is that a big influence for us?
Yeah, that's a big influence. That was one of the first Screamo bands I listened to. My friend showed me Tiger Suit, and I'm like, holy shit, what's this?
Yeah.
So that's definitely a sound I've personally been trying to emulate.
I think we all really enjoy it. You guys into Rain as well?
Oh yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who had Tiger Suit tattooed on his foot at one point, so it's always been a huge influence. Even later on in the album, I don't know if this is one of her influences, but I certainly caught it. Were we fans of the album Daisy by Brand New?
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
yeah, I definitely feel it towards the end, and that kind of goes and points to the fact that we do have these crazy high points, and then you also just give it that room, that echo to vibe out, and I really love that.
Is there a particular song you're thinking about, or?
Off the top of my head, I cannot remember the name. I did a lot of listening, just I've been moving this whole week, so I did a lot of listening while I was moving boxes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys record this album at the factory that you guys own?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's our practice space and studio, basically. So we did everything ourselves there.
Nice.
It's really cool because I think we've been recording and doing songs together since I think 2013.
Yeah.
And Robert's kind of been our studio guy. And so the first two recordings that we did, I think Lifeline is up on Spotify as well. It had its natural progression, and but it really came together with that album. I think it's it sounded just right that time. It's really cool. You did a really good job there, Robert. That's awesome.
The studio looks insane too. I found a couple of demo videos on YouTube. And was that your studio there with the stairs leading up, and someone had a crazy thing in front of their face?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all from the recording rehearsal studio. So yeah, so it's basically it's not really a squat. We pay rent for it, but we can do what we want in that space, and
We do what we want. We can't really do what we want.
Within reason.
From where we're from in Providence, that was a huge part of our scene for a long time. We had an area called Olneyville, which still exists today, and it was a lot of squats and also renters who just created these beautiful studio spaces out of old warehouses. And it was just like a way to see the city just revitalize itself and take care of its community. It's awesome to see what you've done with your space. I think about like I was on tour in Germany last year. I got the chance to play Miss the Stars Fest in Berlin. Right. And did you play that?
No, we didn't. But what band were you in when you played?
I was in a métier. At the time, my guitarist had just left a band by the name of Worst Days, and they were invited and they couldn't make it, so we took their space, and that was a phenomenal experience. If you ever get a chance, definitely check that out.
Yeah. We've been trying to go there for years, even just as a visitor, but it's just impossible to get tickets for it. So it always sells out like in 2 minutes. So. Oh,
it's instant, yeah, and I can see why. You know, the festivals that I've been to, they're also beautiful, but that festival just has such a special feel to it. They have like separate grounds, so at one point, like there's a larger stage inside a space, but then you go outside to like a garden, and they're showing like old black and white movies, and everyone's just hanging out. And then you go around, and there's like a bar set up, and I believe they make their own beer there, and it's just like the whole experience together was just awesome. Yeah, the reason I bring it up, though, is, while I was in Germany, I had a chance to play at this old World War II bunker, and it was the same thing where, like, that was, like, a bunch of studio spaces that were now taken over by artists, and just to see what they could do with a space like that, I just feel like that's just a beautiful direction we're moving in, revitalizing these old buildings and using them to tell our story.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it's a really cool house that we're in. It's an old... beer factory?
Yeah, like a brewery, yeah.
Brewery, yeah. From like the mid 1800s.
Yeah.
And it's really like dilapidated and starting to fall apart and stuff. But our lease is only like until they decide to either tear it down or just kick us out and like renovate it, basically. So we're constantly... like, we don't really know how long we have left. So we're just trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, it's really hard to, like, invest in a place that you're not sure that you're going to have in a year from now or, like, even half a year from now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're in this really awkward position, I think, right now. But
we had it for about 5 years, I think, something like that.
Yeah, because they're shutting down a lot of venues around town, or they've been doing that the past years. And people have been pretty grateful for a space where like they can go to cheap shows and just hang out with friends and stuff. That's like not an official like ticket buying venue place because
more like a grassroots thing. Like I think it's really empowering for the people who go to shows to feel like everybody has somewhere to play. Even though you're not like this big band or whatever, it's and then you put them on the same roster as like maybe a band is coming in from out of town that's a bit bigger, and like everybody gets some time on stage. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I think that's appreciated as well.
Oh, absolutely. And you've had some pretty awesome acts there. What were some of your favorites?
Well, definitely Listener. We've had them back 3 times already. So.
Yeah.
That's been really cool.
It's like a house band there, man.
I love Wooden Heart from Listener. That whole album's amazing.
Oh, that track is awesome.
Yeah. We've had Oso Oso played last year.
Portrayal of Guilt was sick.
Portrayal of Guilt.
That was crazy. That was better shows, I think.
Yeah, with Centuries. And we've had Mom Jeans, and we've had...
what's that Mexican band called?
Juliet.
Yeah, Juliet.
Oh,
that was
Juliet.
crazy.
Oh, Juliet, yeah.
It was really unfortunate when they played because it was like a Tuesday and it was raining. So I think we had 6 paying visitors.
No, it was like 2.
Yeah, it was so sick.
It was the singer from I Love Your Lifestyle and like his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and then like we were proud with them, and but it was like they still put on an amazing show.
They are such talented musicians as well.
Yeah,
I think they said they practice 2 hours every day, like it's crazy stuff like that.
That's insane.
That's serious commitment.
Yeah, it's completely crazy.
How often do you guys practice?
I was going a good like maybe once or twice a week, and that would typically be like an hour and a half. On my own, I'll practice, throughout the day when I feel like picking it up. I guess it kind of depends what I'm interested in at the time or what I'm picking my brain at. If I just picked up a new pedal, sometimes it's like you hear a new artist and it just like gets you going, and that's all you can think about for a while. What does the practice schedule look like for Wlots?
Right now, without a drummer,
yeah, we don't have a drummer, so it's
kind of hard.
So I think this suits us really well to be recording a new album at this time. Because I get to be creative and like have a good time with Hannes and Robert just doing just recording new stuff and like figuring shit out and trying things. And
we were really lucky to have Jesper from Kid Furo play drums on this album, and it turned out really well. We rented a cabin actually for a week about almost a month ago now, and just lay down all the drums. We had one practice with him beforehand before doing that, and he just nailed everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. Like he knew the songs better than we did.
Drummers have a way of doing that, though. They can really just pick a song apart. It's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So
and like it was one of when he was like, oh, but that fill, then he had to do this thing, and that's impossible. And then he tried it, and he did it.
He did
it.
Yeah,
I guess you can.
It's like you have a snare roll into another snare hit, and it's like, okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, but our practice schedule, we like when we have a drummer, we usually try to go once a week at least. Before gigs or like tours, we probably practice a few times a week at least. And for like 2 hours. So it's probably the same, I guess. I have a lot of like mixing and other work to do, so my practice discipline has kind of been off the past years.
I don't think I ever had a discipline for that. It's just want to play.
It's just natural talent.
What's wrong with that?
As I listened through the album, I did hear kind of some influences to La Dispute as well, mostly in the vocal patterns and just some of the stops we do. Is that a large influence for us?
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, it was a big starting point, I think, when we started the band. That was like one of the main things we were trying to go for, but we kind of moved away from that a bit.
We almost overdid it for a while. I got really tired of it.
So why were you? Because that was your influence to begin with.
It was like probably because I just was like, just by the time I found La Dispute, it was like unlike anything I ever heard, pretty much. So I just got really caught up in that, and I don't know. I just wanted to do something similar, I guess. So
I think we've both moved away from it, but you kind of also like made it your own thing now.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, so it feels more natural.
Yeah, but and also, I to be honest, I never really liked the sound of my screaming. So it was nice to try something different, and that kind of worked for me. So I think that also had something to do with it.
I'm going to say something controversial. I think La Dispute's a bunch of jerks.
Really?
So I had a chance to play with them years ago at a coffee house that my friend was booking at his college. And before they went on, I went to go use the restroom, and the singer was on the side of me using the urinal. And I kind of just like looked at him and I said like, yeah, I appreciate you guys and the music you make so much. And I really like that song, Bury Your Flame. At the time, my voice when I sing, I kind of sound like them a little bit, and my friends had always picked on me for that. So I made a point just to say, like, I like that song. And he kind of just looked at me. He goes, "Yeah, well, everyone likes that song. I bet you want me to play it." And he walked out of the bathroom. And the worst part was he did play that song that night, and just as a fan, it's like I wasn't begging or asking for anything. I was just trying to say to him, like, thank you for what you do. That just always stuck with me. And after that, I just haven't listened to them as much.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like the same thing with the Brand New after that whole thing with the.
It's impossible to listen to.
Yeah.
It's
really hard.
Completely ruined that music for me.
Yeah,
because all those lyrics, they take on a whole different meaning now. Now that's cats out of the bag.
And exposed.
And I have a tattoo Brand New on my arm. So and here we are.
I was close to getting one on my leg as well. But,
oh no.
Shit. No, but the Devil and God album was a big game changer for me when I heard that, in 2007, I think, and just all throughout high school, and it really defined kind of this new world of mixing heavy with softer, more quiet parts, and having really dynamic songs, and I think that's still something we try to emulate. Not necessarily that exact sound, but
the feeling of it.
And the dynamics. So I still reference that album, but I haven't really listened to it or any of their music really since then, unfortunately. But it has opened up my eyes to a bunch of new bands like Balance and Composure that do similar stuff.
I love them.
And Better Off as well. Yeah. So out of the bad comes the good, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And you
Absolutely.
know what? If you're taking that sound and creating it and making it your own and making it something we can all digest where maybe there's not that awful stigma attached to it, then great. We're doing our part to evolve. So we did say we did a bit of touring as well. Where have we toured?
We were out in Poland and Germany last year for a bit over a week, I think.
Yeah, 10 or 12 days, something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's what I did last year.
Really?
Yeah. It was in late October.
I was May.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys just missed each other.
Right? This could have been some dynamic duo. Yeah. What parts of Poland and Germany?
We played in Poland. We've been to Poland a couple of times, so we have some friends there. But we usually play in northern Poland a lot. But now we played Krakow. We played Wrocław. We played Warsaw.
Yes, me too.
That was it for Poland, but
yeah. So we were more down south this time. It's so hard to pronounce all those Polish cities. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I was glad I was in Warsaw. That seemed pretty straightforward. Yeah. I remember taking a shot of vodka with one of the locals there too, and it was brown. And I just remember being "This isn't right," and saying something to him, and he just was just "This is the dirt of the earth," And that's always stuck with me. We have a lot of Polish people where I live, and every time they take a shot, it's just they say Nostrovia. And I just remember just saying that and just accepting the brown water, and it was an awesome night,
It's a home brew.
Was it an awesome morning after that?
It kind of was. We ended up walking around Warsaw all morning and just checking out just their transportation system. I think we got coffee at some place, and nowhere around there knows what iced coffee is, and that's pretty big in the U.S. So they kind of looked at me like I was crazy, which that's fine,
The touring last year was fun. So we went out with
Kid Farrell.
Kid Farrell and Escapism, the Polish band that we toured with before.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, they're not playing anymore, unfortunately.
No. But so we played their last show in Krakow, which is their hometown.
Yeah,
and
It
that
must have
was,
been insane.
Yeah, it was great.
That was sick.
yeah, but they didn't know it was their last show. So unfortunately, we couldn't do anything more. We probably would have like bought a cake or something.
That show was sick. It was so ecstatic. Like, and you can find some of one of the spoken word songs that we did on. I think it's just on Instagram right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But we should put it up on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
If you guys found some stuff on YouTube, we should definitely put it up there. So yeah.
Yeah, and also they did a great job of bringing people. I think it was sold out, that show, and it's kind of a big venue actually. So
yeah,
I think it was probably more people at that show than all the other shows combined.
No, not really. But it was a really good night. Easily one of the best shows we played.
So if you're in that area, if you're in Krakow, you should try and play at Warstadt. It's called Warstadt. We could send you.
Yeah, it's also a super cool place.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have a really good scene there, and people usually go to shows there, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out Warstadt.
So, Robert, you were also involved in a hardcore band, or are you still involved in a hardcore band by the name of Respite?
Yeah, exactly. I play guitar with them. It's the singer from Disavow, which is a straight edge hardcore band from Sweden, and Elina and Emma on vocals and bass. And I've been playing with them for about 1 or 2 years now. But Wlots is like my main thing, I guess.
Yeah, and Hans, you were involved in an emo band called Mundane.
Yeah. It's like a Midwest emo, indie emo band, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I noticed when I asked you a few questions about your favorite artists, William Bonney came up. Is that kind of where those influences are coming from?
Yeah, a lot of that, but Mundane is like way softer than that. Like the William Bonney influences, I think we have more in Wlots.
Yeah,
especially on our next record, I would say it does have some William Bonney vibes to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's super exciting for me. To speak to William Bonney, they also share members with Midwest Pen Pals and Merkin Ships. I spent a summer hanging out with Nick Stutzman from those bands. He just somehow traveled his way to our side of the U.S. and just hooked on to our friend group for a while. And he's just such a character, and for such sad music, he brought so much happiness to our lives. It's awesome to see, that people can create such sad music, but yet just have that type of soul and just that type of aura around them.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And to meet people like that.
Yeah.
It's not every day.
Yeah. What do you think, Steve? Do you have any questions?
And Alex, you have a solo project too. What's that about?
That's just me playing songs on an acoustic with a harmonica. Not really sure what that's about yet. I've put out one song so far. That's always how I've played guitar at home. You just play a bunch of emo songs, I guess.
Yep.
We opened for Crywank.
Oh yeah, that's right.
At a show, and he played. What was it?
I did a cover of a Save Today song called. I think it's called "Hold."
Yeah.
It's from one of
I love that song.
the first acoustic EPs. Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh my god, I know that song!" And he was probably the only one in the crowd who knew that song.
Yeah, I was really stoked about it. It's fun.
It's actually the first song that I learned to play guitar on, and it's kind of a weird song to learn to play to because it's like you play the bam, 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 and then you sing on top of that. Mm-hmm. So it's not like straight, 8/8 tempo kind of thing. Yeah. Fun fact, I guess. That's,
cool.
It's not really a serious part. It is just yeah. You know how it is to be when I put your songs out and have people listen to them.
Exactly.
Thanks for asking, Steve.
No problem. I'm also curious. What's the music scene in your area in Sweden? Is it a lot of heavy metal stuff? Are you guys like the oddballs?
Kind of. I mean, there's a very small emo screamo scene.
Yeah. It's not very small. Or
pretty. I
in
mean,
comparison to Indie pop is like super big here.
Yeah, like the main. That's probably like the main thing Gothenburg is known for is either like metal or indie pop.
Yeah.
And so most bands are like more indie pop bands, or we're not too into like the metal side of things.
But it kind of feels like indie pop people and screamo and hardcore people it's kind of the same crowd. At least
there's some
here it
overlap.
is.
Yeah.
But once you cross over to like metal people, it's a different crowd.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, they're way more like that, like death metal purist, real, I don't know, Buddhism thing. Like, yeah.
It's just a different crowd. None of the people that we hang out with listen to metal music, I think.
Felix does, but like...
Yeah. Well...
Or I mean, I listen to metal too, but I don't...
Get out of here.
I don't go to like any shows or anything. I mean, it's been like 10 years since we were at a metal show.
I kind of feel like metal doesn't have like the DIY element to it for some reason.
No.
I don't know why that
and
is.
like all the promoters that are into metal, they're always like, they got this very inflated
ego,
sense of self, and it's always like, oh, you got to make it big, like it's supposed to look more than it is, and that's not really doesn't really resonate with the DIY sort of
punk thing
that we've got going.
They all have really nice merch.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I don't know. For some reason, it feels like even the indie pop crowd is closer to like the DIY punk kind of thing than metal fans or metal bands in general. For some reason, I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
But that's not saying that all metal bands are like that.
Definitely not.
No, we played with one black metal band from Siberia, right? In Poland, the previous tour.
Oh, yeah.
They were crazy.
Yeah, they had like was a dog up on stage. That was crazy.
Yeah, that show was weird.
That was like a bunch of hillbillies and a bunch of Nazis at that show. It was weird.
And like this one guy with his dog on a leash.
Yeah.
And the dog was going insane. It was inside this room where it's like 120 decibels, really loud music going on.
It was terrible.
And like for some reason he just let go of the leash, and the dog went up on stage.
It just got totally disoriented,
while the black metal band was playing.
Yeah, and the singer was like, "What the fuck's this dog doing?"
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I run I work for a nonprofit, and we're called AS220, and we're essentially just like for all artists. We house artists. We have a venue. We have a restaurant. We offer programs. It's a really cool, unique place. But with that, our big thing is anyone can book our venue. There's no cost, and we get a lot of like noise sets. And I'll never forget one time someone played there and no one showed up. It was just him on stage, just making insane loud noises. And his dog was just in the crowd alone, just laying down, listening. And I'm just like, I just see it and you just like want to say something so bad, but it just seems like this dog was so used to it at this point and just accepted it. It was just like such a sad thing to see,
Yeah. Man, that's terrible.
So what are some of our favorite artists? I know we've kind of covered a few and I've drawn a couple out, but what are some of our favorite artists to listen to?
I'm really into Bright Eyes. Love
Yeah,
Bright
me
Eyes.
too. Yeah.
Me, not so much.
Bright Eyes for me reminds me of being like 14 and drinking wine in bed and thinking like that's the way,
Yeah. So I listened more to Elliott Smith probably in that like sphere, I guess. But I think something we've all had in common is like we all grew up on this 90s California pop punk thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
That's kind of like how we met, like through like Offspring and Green Day and all those.
We used to
types
go
of
to
bands.
that festival as well.
West Coast Riot.
Which was
Yeah, we had like a punk rock festival here in town.
Yeah, for a few years. It was like
and No Effects, of course.
No Effects. Millencolin was a big one. That was one of my first real show was Millencolin. When I was like 15.
Mine was Korn.
Korn.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but then after that we found like bands like Circle Takes a Square and stuff like that, and then we just completely stopped listening to pop punk and just started listening to Screamo, I guess.
Yeah, we got too cool for that.
Circle Takes the Square. Oh man, please go ahead.
Yeah, I started like just Googling in Wikipedia in like hardcore and emo, and because like emo was getting really popular around like 05, 06, when I started high school. And I just like tried to find like the roots of it all. And like, it was this whole, cause that came with like the whole, oh, this isn't true emo. This is like fake emo, like My Chemical Romance stuff. And like that back and forth between the purists and everything else.
The great debate.
I was like, into that like discussion, like super elitist about it. And I regret not going to see My Chemical Romance when they were here, because I was like so against it. But I probably would have enjoyed it if I had gone. But yeah, I downloaded Make Me Emo compilation off of Pirate. And that was just full of like Seisha and Get Up Kids, like just all the like old good stuff. And like I remember I was listening to the Circle Takes a Square as a Roots Undo album, and it took me like a few months before I actually started to enjoy it. It was just like super noisy at first, and my brain couldn't wrap its head around it, but I was just like, man, this is so cool. It's like it sounds like there's like a little boy singing, like a 12-year-old boy, which is Kathy, but I didn't know they had a female vocalist as well. So I thought it was just like a really young kid and like this older guy singing. But yeah, that was like still one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
They're incredible. Yeah, we're lucky enough where we actually are from a place where they went to college not too far from here. They went to Berklee College of Music, so it was pretty common to see them around Massachusetts and play around there. I had a chance to see them, and United Nations opened for them.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
United Nations, and at the time it was like one of their older lineups, so it was like the singer of Thursday and one of the members of Glassjaw. So they were phenomenal for one, but then Circle Takes the Square comes out, and B. Dolan, who's a local rapper who, if we're not familiar, he's connected to Sage Francis. B. Dolan came out and like rapped over one of their songs. And I just remember like thinking like, one, you guys are insane musicians as it is, but two, how did this guy like get in there and figure out how to rap over this, you know?
Just fresh, yeah.
Years later, I ended up playing a festival with B. Dolan, and it was at my venue that I work at. And so, I had a little bit of backstage access, and I realized that all B. Dolan does before he performs is just sits in the basement and just reads books all day. Wow. So just that discipline, I'm like, okay, I get it. You honed in on this, and I think Circle Takes the Square, obviously that's where they're coming from too. How many tracks do they have in each song, to put that much effort in, to tabulate and to write all this music out? I don't know about you, but I mean, are you writing out like the music theory behind every piece that you create?
Not really.
Kind of. I mean,
we do it afterwards pretty much. Like first you just come up with something, and then afterwards you kind of break it down to know what it actually is.
I try and transcribe everything in Guitar Pro.
Awesome.
I've been in Guitar Pro for like 15 years, and it's just like such a great tool for me to both practice but also write music with. And so I just try to like transcribe what we do, and sometimes like I can't wrap my head around something Hannes has written, like a weird riff or something, and like with a triplet feel or something like that. But yeah, it really helps like also detect like stuff that probably wouldn't work, or if it's like too complicated or whatever. So yeah,
it's nice too. I think we complement each other quite well there. So Robert's this very like you need the Guitar Pro and the putting everything down.
I like structure
and the structure and how it's supposed to be. And I think Hannes is kind of like the guy with a million ideas.
Oh yeah.
and like we riff off each other, and we just come up and build the ideas, and then Robert's like, okay, so what are we actually doing here? And then he like decodes that and puts that on
in notes.
Yeah,
so
That's awesome. So that's how you make art. Why do we make art?
Hannes, do you want to answer this one? Why do you make music?
It's a tricky question. I don't know really. Yeah, to be honest, just ended up playing a band, I guess.
But we've been playing for a long time.
Yeah. Like we started a band in that was high school, right?
Why did you start that?
Middle school.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
seventh grade.
We went to like a super posh school, me and Robert.
Yeah, and we kind of found each other because we were like the only ones.
Listening to NoFX and
skate punk.
And so I don't know. We just started playing music together, and by that time I had actually never played guitar.
Yeah, I taught him his first chords, I guess, because my dad taught me a few things, and I started off on drums, but I picked up a guitar because I felt that was like I got kind of tired with drums and wanted to like be able to play songs like from start to finish and recognize it. So I had like the guitar and bass and drums at home, so it was kind of natural that we like went to my place and practiced. But you picked up a guitar really fast and got very good quickly, and we kind of put a band together.
I had a good teacher.
Yeah, and then
you guys never took lessons?
No, not before that.
No.
Actually, I remember in preschool, there was a couple of guys that had a band, and I so badly wanted to be in a band. So I lied and told them I played the drums.
In preschool or in elementary?
Elementary, probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a young age. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, but I had no idea how to play the drums, but I just so badly wanted to do it. So I just remember sitting there like I have no idea what I'm doing. But
so why did you lie to?
I just wanted to play with them. Paranoid by the Black Sabbath song.
Yeah.
Cool.
It probably sounded terrible, but I ended up actually playing with them for a while. So I guess I wasn't that bad.
You are that bad.
I know. I'm still too shitty to play that song.
No.
How did you start, Alex?
How I started playing, or why I make art? I think it's an interesting question. I enjoy making art because I want to like communicate with myself. I think just sitting here on I have a piano in here, and it's kind of nice just to like listen to the notes and like be in that moment and just listen and feel, and that's very cathartic to me. But I started playing when I was in what we call a hug started, which is like 7th to 9th grade.
Yeah, middle school.
So middle school. And I just started skateboarding, and I was into making cool stuff. I figured out like playing guitar and skateboarding. Those are two cool things I want to do and get really good at. And I found it very hard to get good at it. So yeah, that's why I guess. My parents wanted me to start playing when I was 3 years old. Like they used to be touring musicians, but I didn't pick it up until middle school. Yeah.
What was it like growing up with parents as touring musicians?
I've seen a lot of hotel bars. They used to play. I don't really know. Like we had a lot of babysitters. We saw a lot of places, and like hotels always feel like a second home to me because I've been in and out of hotels since I was small. That's pretty much it, I think. And like as stages also feels very homey somehow, and like the lighting and the smell of bars. It's just I don't know. It feels like home. Which is strange maybe to a lot of people because it's like somewhere that they would go to enjoy themselves as grown-ups, but like I've always been in those sort of environments.
Yeah, I've been involved in bars since I was 15 years old. I've been running bars for years. So for me, that's like where I feel most comfortable, like I definitely Yeah, behind the bar is like, even to this day, like now, like I manage and run a place, but like I love the day when I have to step behind that bar and like fill in, or like they're just like buried and I'm like, I get to pour a beer, that's so like, it's comforting to me. And it's just a fun, like public place to be, so we all skateboard, right? That's something we all do fairly good. I know one of us just got injured, right?
Yeah, I got injured on my third day of skateboarding.
Oh no.
So yeah.
You can find the clip when Robert breaks his elbow on his Instagram if you're interested.
Yeah,
we can send you the details later.
We would love to link that. That would be awesome.
No, I was just trying to do a shove it and landed like off balance, basically. Nothing really dramatic in that way. But Hannes and I used to, Hannes used to skateboard at least like when we were in middle school.
Yeah.
I would only film them basically. So we have some old home video of Hannes and his friends skateboarding.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty good.
With like a Millen Collins soundtrack.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rad. But I don't skateboard now anymore. Mostly because I don't have time for it. And also because I don't want to end up like Robert here.
Yeah.
What are some of the struggles you've had as a group?
Oh man, Robert's the biggest struggle.
Nah. The biggest struggle has been drummers because we had to change them all the time.
Yeah, finding a permanent drummer is hard.
Yeah, it was hard from the start.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. So I used to play with. So the drummer who drums on the old the record, the Semper Pew, Philip. That was the first drummer that I played with when I was really, really young. So we played with him, and then we switched him because he quit the band because he got together with a girl, and then he was like off the planet.
That was your old band.
That was my old band, and then we had Felix, who I live with right now. He lives in the same apartment as I do.
And he moved to Australia
for a year.
So
and it was like indefinitely. So we were like, okay, we can't really practice right now. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And then Philip comes along.
Yeah, the old drummer comes back and he says, the only way I will do this and play with you guys is if I can be a permanent member of the band again. So we had to kick Felix out and bring Philip back in. And then Philip moves to Berlin and quits the band. So now we have no.
But that was 2 years later, to be fair.
Yeah.
It still happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're I guess we're looking for a drummer right now, but also there's no real like pressure to find someone.
No, there's no stress really because we can't play shows now anyway. So
yeah,
because we have a lot of work to do with the new LP anyway. So
yeah.
But I think the dynamics between us as members that's been hard, I think.
Yeah, me and Alex are like kind of polar opposites in some ways, and it's been kind of like a process to find out how we work together and how we can like manage stuff so that we don't like get on each other's nerves
like
unnecessarily. No,
how are we opposites? I've never really thought about.
This
is turning ugly.
This is what we want. Yeah.
It's nothing but love, guys. It's nothing but love.
Yeah. I think like we're the same in a lot of ways, but we're also kind of like opposites in other ways. I don't know. I just feel like
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was just interested in.
Yeah. No, but it's been like. I mean, we did fight a lot a few years ago.
Did we?
Yeah, like during the album process and stuff. And like,
no, we were the ones working together.
Yeah, but it was like it was hard to like. I mean, the whole thing with like answering emails and like all that stuff.
Oh yeah, with that stuff. Oh yeah.
I think to be honest, it's like Alex is super like spontaneous and wants things to happen all the time, like really quickly. And Robert really likes to plan things a lot. And, That's the biggest difference between
that's a good
guys, summary.
Yes, that can be like I jumped the gun a bit on things a bit too fast, and that makes problems for me. People get pissed off when I'm like, say yes to something too quickly, or if I just,
you go with the gut a lot. Like And that's usually a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not great.
When you have to work with other people, it can get, messy.
Yeah. But I think like also the whole process of the last album, Semper Piu, was really drawn out, and like it took a lot of me, just like putting pressure on myself, mixing a whole album. It was one of the first full-length albums I've done, and our first full-length album. So I was like really, really wanted it to be perfect, and so that put me in kind of a bad place, and we weren't practicing, so we couldn't like air out grievances, I guess. Practicing with a band is like really cathartic sometimes. It can really like, it's a relationship, but you have a relationship with like 4 people. And it feels like writing and being creative together can really like loosen tension. And so we weren't practicing, and we were just stressing to like collectively over getting this album done. And,
basically, it was 3 people waiting for you to finish mixing.
Yeah.
It was like, mailing back and forth with the label and like getting a lot of paperwork, and not a lot of, but like,
some paperwork and some merch and just the artwork for the album.
Oh yeah, the artwork,
So,
the printing of the LPs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of logistics behind that as well.
Yeah, talking to Distroids and
oh, that was
also
the worst.
like booking a tour and all that. So
Yeah. And I think like we had to like kind of learn how to communicate, because I've known Hannes like for 15 years, but we've kind of grown up. We weren't super open, I guess, about like feelings and stuff growing up.
Yeah.
And so that was like kind of a process to.
It's pretty strange, actually, like not being so open and talking so much about that, and then also playing like super emotional music together.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like, we're all dudes, and we still have those sort of preconceptions that you're not supposed to talk about those things. But then
I guess a little bit.
Me personally, I've been yearning to be more open about that, but we've never actually talked about it as a group.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Well, I think we've gone really better about it.
Yeah, I'm 32 now, so like I think I've grown up and grown past that sort of phase when you're in like your 1920s. Yeah, and like you're. I think we've all learned a lot from where we've come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great answer that
was. Sorry about that.
You've heard it here. Wlots is a bunch of tough guys. They have no emotions. No, I'm kidding. No, that's great.
I can speak to that too. Josh and I have been in bands for years, and there was lots of arguing about the creative process and writing and recording. I remember us in our friend Chris's basement, and I just remember you and Mike arguing about parts and songs all the time. There was a lot of growing pains for us throughout the years and all of our projects too. So it comes with the age, it comes with the time. You finally get that cohesion, and you feel that connection, and you're able to have that honest conversation without it turning nasty. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting also is when you have an idea, when I have an idea and I really want that idea to work, you kind of like either then the other party is supposed to like either you have to go with that, or maybe that other person also has an idea and wants that to work. And like when you're in that position where you have conflicting interests, that's when it can get really nasty. And I think that's what happened with our old drummer. Is like he was also very driven and like had all these ideas, and but we had a really hard time. What do you call that?
There's like different ideas of how to execute it, I guess.
Yeah. So I think that's like you got to give and take, sort of, to be able to trust each other, and I completely feel that way right now with you guys.
Yeah.
That you can go with sometimes you just go with an idea and it doesn't work. And then, I know that I have to like drop it and say like, okay, that didn't really work. And just knowing that you guys are open to that makes all the difference in the creative process. I think.
Yeah. And I think this album, this album we're writing right now, the process has gone so much smoother than the last time. Because it feels like we're not taking it as like life or death serious as the last time, where like it felt like everyone was so invested and like it was like, this is our first album. It needs to be perfect and it can't, like, nothing can be wrong. And everyone had so many like ideas and wanted it to like, just succeed basically. And this time around, we're more
relaxed about it and also more on the same page.
Yeah, and we want to have fun with it more, and it's like not as deathly serious, I think, and that's a good thing because it like makes you more creative, I feel.
Yeah,
and like just be open to more things and not have like that mindset of if we include this part, the whole song's going to be ruined because it's not going to be exactly how I envisioned the song from the beginning, like and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Do you recognize any of that?
That's me to the umpteenth degree. I am a control freak, and in other bands that I've been in, I feel like I have an idea and it's the way, and it takes a lot to get me out of it. And I think that shines through in a couple aspects of my life, and I think all I've been trying to do the past couple of years is just notice that I do this, realize it, and then take that second to listen to others. But some of like my favorite things that I've created are the things that like we've thrown out some of my ideas or tried other things. And I think just trying to be open to everyone's ideas and just to feel them out now is just like my approach. And also I find when writing now, I do a lot of the singing in projects that I've been in, but I don't want to be the only voice. So what I try to do now is feel the temperature of the room before we start to write and ask people what is bothering them, like what they would like to talk about. And then that's kind of where we have a conversation, and that conversation leads to what we'll actually make our lyrics about. And then at the end of the day too, I feel like that just makes everyone so much more attached to what you're creating, and just that emotion comes through.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool.
Cool. Steve, do you have any other questions you'd like to include?
Yeah. So I know you guys, your practice studio is in an abandoned factory. Are there any weird or creepy stories you guys can go on about the building? Have you gone exploring in it and found anything crazy?
Yeah.
What do you like exploring the rehearsal space, like the factory?
Yeah.
You went up there and like in the abandoned parts, where we have like lots of dead birds
During Halloween.
Oh yeah, during Halloween.
Yeah, that was fun. We went up there with people tripping on shrooms. I didn't know that we were jumping at the time, but like afterwards, I was just maybe that was not such a good idea. And
we found there was like an old piano with a bunch of dead birds on it and inside of it, I think.
Wow.
And I was not tripping on shrooms. This was real.
yeah. And also that one time with the past, like how much
oh yeah. Oh my god.
So we put on shows, right?
Yeah.
And when we put on indie shows, people would get way too fucked up.
Yeah.
Because that crowd really likes to drink. I was behind the bar, and you have the bar desk like up here, and I had like Hannah's sisters like on the other side of the bar. She's like, dude, what's this guy doing on the floor? And like I look over, and there's a passed out guy on the floor. And like I walk over to him and like, hello, are you awake? And it's like it doesn't even reply. And then I slap him a bit in the face because like he's obviously passed out. Nothing happens. And then I'm trained in CPR. You're supposed to do like something called like pain stimulus, where you put your thumb down here, like by the collarbone. Nothing happens. And like if he's that passed out, you're supposed to call an ambulance, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So like he doesn't respond to stimulus. He doesn't respond to slapping. Like I can't wake him up. Pretty much we have to call an ambulance. But like it's the show space that we have. It's like it's like an off the books. Like
we can't really
don't want authorities around. So people are like, but you really need to call an ambulance. Like even though like it's somebody's life, blah blah blah. And it's like so we start like carrying him out onto a sofa. And while we're carrying him, he wakes up and he's like, "What are you guys doing? What's going on?" About to call an ambulance, like, and put him on the sofa.
Yeah, some of his friends comes by and they're like, "He's always like that. He's fine." It's like,
and then we ask him like, "Have you had any drugs?" He's like, "Yeah, I've had amphetamines." And it's like half passed out. And then I asked him like, "How much have you had?" And he's like, "He does this."
Oh no!
Like, oh my god, this guy. And then eventually, like, he makes it into a cab. Like his friends put him in the cab, and that's the last thing we saw of him.
Yeah.
But it was really disconcerting to know that that's what he's like all the time.
Yeah.
And then he has friends that just find that to be normal. I mean,
it's even more fucked up.
Yeah.
So like, I think it opened our eyes to like we have as a venue, we do have responsibilities, even though that we're not on the books or you still have to take care of the people that come to your place and make them feel safe.
Yeah, and also that type of crowd is not really what we want there, because people are generally not so comfortable with people doing shitloads of drugs in a bar. So we try to not book that kind of shows anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're really good money. They spend a lot.
I used to have a practice space above like an old fire station, and there was a venue on the first floor, and some of their like most like their best nights were just like these college nights, and they were awful, and it was a young crowd, and they were just always like so drunk. And like I just remember like leaving my jacket downstairs for a minute before going to the space, and like coming back down, and like my jacket was gone, and I'm just like, damn you. But I had a friend that worked there, and he would just talk about how like he would clean up at the end of the night and sweep and just like find $20 bills everywhere. It's just like it's a tough crowd.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What do we think, Steve? Any other questions?
Yeah. Do you guys have a tentative release date for your new LP?
A release date? We don't have a release date, but we're aiming to. To be frank, I think it's going to be sometime like early next year.
Hopefully,
but we don't have anything as of yet.
Yeah.
We can keep you posted though.
We still haven't finished recording, really. And like due to my accident, it's kind of been pushed forward a bit.
Yeah.
Hannes is probably gonna have to take my guitar parts.
Sweet.
We're probably gonna get someone else to mix it, which hopefully won't take a year. So hopefully sometime next year, I think.
Definitely sometime next year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it.
It's heavier and it's sadder and it's got a lap steel as well. In some songs. So that's something to look forward to.
Awesome. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. And I think that probably about wraps it up here for us. I'd like to thank you again for being here. This is Wlots. Where can we find more info on your music?
On our Instagram at Wlots Band, WLOTS Band, and on our Facebook.
Bandcamp as well.
And our Bandcamp.
Wlots.bandcamp.com.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm Josh, and thank you for listening to Musicians and Makers podcast. Again, we're dedicated to interviewing and promoting artists across a broad genre of spectrums and mediums. You can find out more information on our episodes at our website, musiciansandmakers.com, as well as Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And thanks for joining us today, and we hope to hear from you when that new release comes out.
Sweet. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.